This video is me, Samantha the dog, doing the reports of the Calder Cup final, from 1989 to 2025. If you haven't seen the NLL Cup final video, please check it out. Or if you haven't seen these 9 videos of this series, please check these videos out. I hope you enjoy this video. The Red Wings won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Nighthawks. They won the last game 10-7 on May 16, 1989. The Indians won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Americans. They won the last game 4-3 on May 18, 1990. The Indians won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Americans. They won the last game 5-3 on May 24, 1991. The Red Wings won the Calder Cup Final 4-3 over the Maple Leafs. They won the last game 5-2 on May 29, 1992. The Oilers won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Americans. They won the last game 7-2 on May 30, 1993. The Pirates won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Hawks. They won the last game 4-1 on May 29, 1994. The River Rats swept the Canadiens in the Calder Cup Final 4-0. They won the last game 3-0 on May 26, 1995. The Americans won the Calder Cup Final 4-3 over the Pirates. They won the last game 2-1 on June 13, 1996. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Bulldogs. They won the last game 4-1 on June 13, 1997. The Phantoms won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Flames. They won the last game 6-1 on June 10, 1998. The Bruins won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Americans. They won the last game 5-1 on June 13, 1999. The Wolfpack won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Americans. They won the last game 4-1 on June 4, 2000. The Flames won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Scranton Penguins. They won the last game 1-0 on May 28, 2001. The Wolves won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Sound Tigers. They won the last game 4-3 on June 3, 2002. The Arrows won the Calder Cup Final 4-3 over the Bulldogs. They won the last game 3-0 on June 12, 2003. The Admirals swept the Scranton Penguins in the Calder Cup Final 4-0. They won the last game 7-2 on June 6, 2004. The Phantoms swept the Wolves in the Calder Cup Final 4-0. They won the last game 5-2 on June 10, 2005. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Admirals. They won the last game 5-1 on June 15, 2006. The Bulldogs won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Bears. They won the last game 2-1 on June 7, 2007. The Wolves won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Scranton Penguins. They won the last game 5-2 on June 10, 2008. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Moose. They won the last game 4-1 on June 12, 2009. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Stars. They won the last game 4-0 on June 14, 2010. The Senators won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Arrows. They won the last game 3-2 on June 7, 2011. The Admirals swept the Marlies in the Calder Cup Final 4-0. They won the last game 6-1 on June 9, 2012. The Griffins won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Crunch. They won the last game 5-2 on June 18, 2013. The Stars won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Ice Caps. They won the last game 4-3 on June 17, 2014. The Monarchs won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Comets. They won the last game 2-1 on June 13, 2015. The Monsters swept the Bears in the Calder Cup Final 4-0. They won the last game 1-0 on June 11, 2016. The Griffins won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Crunch. They won the last game 4-3 on June 13, 2017. The Marlies won the Calder Cup Final 4-3 over the Stars. They won the last game 6-1 on June 14, 2018. The Checkers won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Wolves. They won the last game 5-3 on June 8, 2019. The Condors won the AHL Final 2-1 over the Silver Knights. They won the last game 3-2 on May 29th, 2021. The Wolves won the Calder Cup Final 4-1 over the Thunderbirds. They won the last game 4-0 on June 25th, 2022. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-3 over the Firebirds. They won the last game 3-2 on June 21st, 2023. The Bears won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Firebirds. They won the last game 5-4 on June 24th, 2024. The Canucks won the Calder Cup Final 4-2 over the Checkers. They won the last game 3-2 on June 23rd, 2025.
Like it, love it, and gotta have it!